Hello everyone, my name is Krish Parekh and I welcome you all to the Wall Street Insider, the Krish Parekh's Insider. This video is primarily going to be the introduction to Wall Street. As all my audiences know so far who have subscribed, my channel will give insights into how to land an internship in investment banking right during your years in college, how to get an internship on Wall Street. I will be providing tips and tricks, resume building activities, and also networking best practices in order to finally acquire an internship on the street. However, for the new audience members who would like to obtain an internship but do not have any previous finance or Wall Street knowledge, this is a perfect video for you guys and my already subscribed subscribers to get an introductory to Wall Street and an introduction to finance. So let's get quickly started. Introduction to finance. What is finance? As Merriam-Webster describes it, the system that includes the circulation of money, the granting of credit, the making of investments, and the provision of banking facilities is finance. So what are the different types of finance firms? Finance is a big field that includes a lot of different types of finance firms, out of which there are pension funds, endowments, foundations, commercial banks, which you might know, or are where common people have their bank accounts, investment banks, hedge funds, insurance companies, private equity firms, and wealth advisors. And these firms are either divided into buy side or sell side. So what exactly is an investment bank? So an investment bank raises capital, which is money, in the form of debt or equity for companies and advises them on financing and merging alternatives. So, for instance, a company named Ford, for instance, wants to open a new factory. It is required to build, it was required money to build the factory. So therefore, this is where an investment bank will come into place. They will advise Ford on, the type of funds to raise, either to raise, debt or equity, and then go to investors to raise the money. Second example, suppose Ford wanted to buy another car manufacturer, perhaps to increase its exposure to the Asian market. So it wants to expand. Ford wants to increase its business to different continents to increase a greater market share and to increase profits. So the investment bank would come in, they would evaluate the car manufacturers in Asia that Ford might be able to buy, look at the valuation, how much cash Ford has, how much ability to pay for another company Ford might have in order to increase its exposure. So this was when an investment bank would come, help Ford decide how much to pay, because determining a company's value is very complicated. So this is the prefix of investment banking. So just to give you a quick overview of the entire industry, so there's different functions, different groups, and different types of investment banks that actually exist. So the two main functions are raising, which is helping them with equities, IPOs, secondary issuance. The second way the function investment banks do is by doing strategic advisory. So for instance, in the example of Ford, investment bank comes in, helps Ford, advises Ford on which company to buy, how much to pay in order to increase its exposure in Asia. So secondly, investment banking is divided into two groups: industry groups and product groups. So industry groups are your technology, industrials, consumers, FIG, all the industry sectors. The product groups are your M&A, which is mergers and acquisitions, leverage finance, restructuring, capital markets. Primarily, they're divided into two major firms: the bulge brackets, which are the major banks like Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, Bank of America, and elite boutiques are the smaller firms that focus much on the M&A aspect since they do not have a balance sheet. Recruiting for sell side. So as my channel completely exists about how to recruit for these Wall Street internships, the tips and tricks which I will be further mentioning in the videos and the blogs ahead of mine, but this was just an overall view of introduction to finance. And make sure to keep subscribe to this channel, like this post, comment if you have any questions, and I will certain to make a video about those questions you have. But moving forward, we will be talking more about the tips and tricks, resume building, and networking best practices for investment banking. recruiting.